The two ways I get guests to come onto the podcast through social media. And you might be wondering, why should I listen to you, right? Well, if you look up what is the best podcast on affordable housing investments right now, you're going to see my podcast. And the reason I want to share this with you is like, you might be wondering, hey, how do you get a podcast to be ranked as the best whatever podcast in whatever category that you care about? Well, if you are think maybe you're tired with your job and you want to go for a career switch. I mean, as someone that wants to get out of corporate America and go towards a profession and a career in an industry that can help people, I found affordable housing. And I knew that if I wanted to get into industry, I had to figure out how to break into it. And what better way to break into it than to talk to people that are successful in that area? So I thought, hey, all right, let me go find who's successful in this area and figure it out. And I had no idea who I was going to meet. And I'll tell you right now that there were probably two phrases that I use during my cold outreach, right? This is people that have no idea what it is. All right. So let me share this with you. So let's talk about Max. Max is a great guy. He's so good with project management in the affordable housing development space. So I followed him for one day, and then the next day I messaged him. I said, "Hey Max, thank you so much for what you do every day in affordable housing. Without folks like you, I would have never had the home I grew up in." And that's genuine. It's serious, right? And I just try to be really brief because I'm not sure if you've ever gotten those really long messages. Anytime I see a paragraph more than 3 lines now, I don't want to do it. And I was guilty of sending these really extremely long messages, and they were terrible ideas, especially now that I learned about copy, right? So that's how I reached out. Let me show you another one. Uh, Will's so good with sharing and teaching people how to calculate LIHTC, low income housing tax credits. And I reached out to him the same way. I said, hey, thank you so much for what you do. It's genuine, right? So you might be saying, Ken, well, you're doing the same thing over and over, but you forget consistency is what drives success. And this is how I got Will. And just to be super clear, most people will ignore you. I'm sharing this with you because it's normal to get declined. It's normal to get ignored. But when people reply back to you, you better be grateful for them. You better be thanking them for their time because you are not entitled to their time. And it's your responsibility to make it valuable for them. It's your responsibility to tell them why they should come. Now, let's say you're completely different and you didn't even have a podcast. What I would do is I would just start off either doing a solo podcast with myself. Maybe I'll look up the top 3 questions. For my first 3 podcasts, I would look up the first 3 questions that, or top 3 questions that are being asked or searched for in my industry. And I would do some research and look. All right, let's see. Let's come up with this. All right, let's do this right now. Let's say you want to start your own podcast on skincare. Let's do this. If I wanted to start my own podcast on skincare and become the best podcast about skincare, what are the top 3 questions that people most commonly research about skincare? And how can I come up with a podcast talk track that addresses those top 3 questions based on what I've learned? All right. Now, that's what I would do for my first 3 episodes. I would take 3 questions. Each episode would just focus on one question, and you don't have to be the expert. You might just say, hey, what skincare routine is right for my skin type? How can I get rid of acne or dark spots? What ingredients should I look for avoiding skincare product? Oh, this is so good. So my first episode would just be what skincare routine is right for my skin type. And I would just look up, hey, how do I identify my skin type? And then what kind of differences are there in routines? Is there a daytime routine, morning routine, in between, transition between workout routine? Is there a nighttime routine? That's how you would do it, right? And the crazy part is the more niche or the more specific you are, the more helpful you become. So that's what I would do. And then after you build up like 3 episodes, just remember, most podcasts don't even make it past episode 3. Great. And then finally, most podcasts never, like, I think it was like 90% or something like that, where they never make it past like episode 27. So your goal right now is not to create a podcast that is the best. Your goal right now is to create a podcast that outlasts everybody on skincare. That's what you're doing. Let me repeat that again. Your job right now is to create a habit, to post consistently, and make a podcast that outlasts others. See, you put so much pressure on yourself to be the best. Yeah, we'll get there, but you don't need to shoot for that. When the goal is to outlast everybody, I bet that goal sounds a little bit more achievable, doesn't it? So that's what I would do. I would do 3 podcasts and just simply say, here's what I learned about the skincare routine that's the best for my skin type. If you want to follow me, I'm going to cover this other skin type tomorrow. And that's how you start building a content base. And then you might start bringing on skincare experts. Maybe you start bringing on skincare business owners. And as you start to have these conversations, now all of a sudden you're figuring out like, okay, how do I get into skincare? How do I learn about everything that's out there? How do people start trusting me about skincare? And then before you start to come up with some random podcast title, you can name after yourself. Sure, I think your personal brand is very popular, very powerful. But if you want to be known as the best podcast on skincare, honestly, I would just call the podcast the best podcast on skincare. To make it super straightforward. Sometimes there's people that come up with these wild, just wild names, and then it requires so much explanation. Remember, it's not the audience's job to understand what you came up with or your name or your title. This is such a 180, but that's how you do it. And then afterwards, what I would do if I were you, I would look up for guests, look up skincare, look up facial spa owners, look up beauty owners, and here's a hack. If you're looking for just a career change into skincare, maybe you're very interested in a certain type of role. Maybe you want to be the director of marketing for skincare. Then go find director of marketing on for a skincare company on LinkedIn and follow them for a day. Send them a connection request the next day and say, hey, I host the best podcast on skincare. I would love to bring you on here about your story and how you built your track. If you want, you can always say, hey, I'm a student, right? And you could really be a student, like not be in school. You could be a student in skincare because you really are. You're learning about skincare every single day. And that's what I would do. And you might be wondering, Ken, why are you creating this podcast? Why are you talking about this today? I never want my kids to ever feel like they're stuck. I know as someone that used to feel like they were stuck in a row, that they weren't getting any fulfillment in a corporate America job that didn't have any meaning, I knew what that meant. And I wanted to share a path for you to get out of whatever career you're in. Because sometimes people have all these gurus like, oh, you can be an entrepreneur, you can make a lot of money. But sometimes people are just okay just getting a career change. And I thought I had this epiphany where I really thought like, hey, what if my kids are in a job that they didn't enjoy? God forbid I die tomorrow or get hit by a bus. How do I leave them the steps to get there? And I thought, as someone that had an affordable housing podcast that completely changed the trajectory of my life, that allowed me to enter a different industry, I wanted to share with you exactly the steps that I would take if I were to say, hey, if I hated affordable housing, how would I get out of it? but I don't. I love affordable. This is why I got into it. This is why I created a podcast called Affordable Housing Real Estate Investing. And be very clear about your niche, right? I did not want to be the best podcast on affordable housing. I wanted to be the best podcast on affordable housing investments. Pick your niche very carefully because affordable housing, those other podcasts on affordable housing, they're all like policy conversations, very political. And I don't like getting political because I've learned that a lot of folks in politics, they like to complain. They don't ever get things done sometimes. And they aren't willing to just take action and be the change that they want to see. So I'm not talking about politicians or anybody, just I'm talking about sometimes there's a lot of hate, division when it comes to politics. And I'm not that person. I want to understand exactly what the sandbox looks like. How do we play in it? And how do we affect change within that sandbox, given the rules? All right. So this is the same thing. If you want to change your life, I really truly believe that starting a podcast is your best secret weapon. You don't even have to be an extrovert. I knew I wasn't. All you have to do is find a guest, and guess what? All the pressure's off of you. You don't need to be the expert in skincare. Do you know how many people look at that? The most researched question is what skincare routine is the right for my skin type? If you can answer that question for people, it doesn't matter what skin type you are or what expert you are. You got them that answer, and people will be so grateful for that. And in the interim, you get to create your own network with people that are successful in this industry in skincare. Just continue to follow this one. You're gonna meet people that are truly, truly experts in their profession, whether they're like the marketing person for the skincare, whether they're the manufacturing expert, whether they are the best customer service rep, right? For skincare companies. That all matters. So if you ever feel stuck, start a podcast. Okay? You got it? All right. I hope you all have an amazing Thursday. Oh, he bumped your head. Do you tell him to say sorry? No. It's okay. You got it. I believe in you. Remember, you don't need daddy to fight your fights. I believe in you. So like, say I'm confident first. Say I'm tough. Say I'm strong. Say I'm grateful. Say I'm nice. Say I'm patient. Okay. Ready to go? Yeah. Need me help? You want to try one time, and then if you don't do it, then I'll come help you, okay? Go try one time, okay? You got it. I love you. You got it. I hope you can tell how much I love my daughter. And this is why I'm creating this live stream. I hope she sees it someday. And I hope she hears what she just did. She came to me thinking that she needed dad to stick up for her. But I said, I believe in you. All right. So I hope you all have an amazing Thursday. I'll see you.
Daddy.
Oh, hold on. There's some questions.
Daddy.
Okay.
Daddy.
How do I score the heavy hitters? Huh? Say?
You didn't talk to me.
They didn't talk to you?
Yeah.
Oh, go ask him. So yeah, can you say sorry, please?
No, I only come to me.
Okay, you give me 5 minutes?
No, I'll take it to.
Okay, 1 minute.
Okay.
Okay, wait 1 second. All right. So I hope you all took that to heart. Barry, hey, thanks for tuning to live, man. I appreciate it. You don't want to score the heavy hitters. Here's what I mean. If you go for the CEO to come onto your podcast, you will likely get ignored. Because guess what? Every CEO has an assistant. All right. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to figure out, go for the COO or go for the director of operations. Because guess what? At the end of the day, if you're looking for tactical help, advice, and knowledge on how to do well, you don't want a chief marketing officer. You want the person that's implementing the plan every day. Because if you're looking for career change, you need to understand what's happening in that role, what's happening in that position. How do you solve those problems when those questions come up? And then most importantly, you get real life experiences. And when you go to interviews, let's say you want to become the director of marketing for a skincare company. Now you know what's happening in the industry. Now you know what type of questions are being asked. Now you know what's working, what's not working. And that will help you stand out more than any AI written resume ever. And I hope that really resonates with you. I think this is good. I'm going to record more topics like this because I think this is so powerful. All right. I hope you all have an amazing Thursday. Spend that quality time with your family and friends today, because that's what life is all about. So you say bye.
Bye.
Say have a good night.
Okay.
Say keep working hard.
Keep working hard.
Say I believe in you.
I will.
Okay. Have a good one, everybody.